Glenn Beck interviewed Trump on his first 100 days. And the title of this video is, it's the whole thing, so it's a bit long. I apologize ahead of time. And also, I suppose, nut warning again. But it's why Pat Gray has been filling in for Glenn Beck. I'm sure you were wondering. That and the fact that it saves Glenn Beck having to talk about the Hegseth bullshit, which we will also talk about in a minute. But this is, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, Glenn Beck went to D.C. to interview him and then did his show locally in his hotel room or in a closet someplace, or in the Pentagon in the makeup room or someplace. But here you go.
Mr. President, your first 100 days, this is the first 89 days.
Yeah?
These are first 89 days.
We work hard.
You work really hard. I actually met some of the people.
By the way, if I'd like to say for the record that if that was a piece of legislation or a bill, they would go, why do you need all this paper? I'm fairly certain that's the executive orders. He just printed them out as a prop.
That write the executive orders last night,
right.
And they need sleep. They're working overtime.
What a great team.
Yeah. So I remember when I was at Fox, Barack Obama, we didn't call it this, but it was shock and awe. I couldn't keep up with it. It was going too fast. You have put that to shame.
Right. So you remember that thing I used to get mad at Barack Obama about? Yeah, I love what you're doing, man. I used to think that's I used to call it unconstitutional, a power grab. Who does this asshole think he is, a monarch and stuff? But see, he was black and you're not. So, fuck, this is great.
Blew him all away. Was that by design to?
No, there were just so many things that the country needed. I mean, honestly, this country, what they did in 4 years was so.
Okay, he's parading memos. That's what an executive order is. It's a statement of purpose and a direction. It's not a new law. It doesn't, it can't undo a law or create a new law. It can't undo funding and create new funding. It's only within the discretionary window of the administrative state. It's about policy. If you have multiple targets, I choose this one as my first one, but you still have to carry out the law, which means all targets on the table all the time, for the DOJ or whatever, similar kind of thing. All he's doing is signing pages in fucking Project 2025 as memos. Calm the fuck down. He's not passing laws. He didn't pass the ACA. He hasn't passed an infrastructure act. He's had to do a CR with the budget. They are working on the first steps towards their budget after they were supposed to have one worked out and signed 2 months ago.
Disastrous for the country. I wish I didn't have to do so much, but.
Well, you could resign.
They did things that were just horrible. I mean, with energy, they terminated ANWR, which is the biggest find in the world.
They didn't terminate ANWR. ANWR was never found. The presumption is that there's got to be oil up there, but you'd still have to explore it to find out where that is. They didn't go. Nobody broke through the fucking ground and went, oh my God, this is the greatest oil reserve in the world. Okay, stop what you're doing, back away, drop all the gear and leave. It wasn't even that. Like, they wanted to open that up to exploration, which in theory they thought would have a lot of oil, but it might not. Or if it did, it might be a terrible extraction, or it might be, Venezuelan tar type oil.
The whole world in Alaska, they terminated it. They did things on the border that are shocking.
Also, by the way, what ANWR never was, and that was terrible. That's his first example of something terrible the Biden administration did, is when we're at max production, we're breaking all the records previous, including over his term, that they didn't open ANWR to more drilling or to be available for drilling, is a terrible thing that they attacked it used to be he used to bring up the Canadian pipeline, the Keystone XL. And he probably will again. But most people know that wasn't American oil that goes through the Keystone XL pipeline. It's Canadian oil, right? So maybe that died. Maybe that talking point died on its own.
It's absolutely shocking. You know, we have the best border we've ever had now.
Yeah, until you don't have funding for it, and all those people that are working down there have to get furloughed or some shit because you can't issue them checks because you have to pass a bill, which you didn't do.
And 3 months ago was the worst border in history, probably for any country, not just here. There was no border. There's never been a border like that where prisons and gangs and drug dealers and murderers are allowed to walk in without being checked or vetted.
Also, is Trump shrinking? Because I don't know, how tall is Glenn Beck? Chat room, anybody? Does anybody know how tall Glenn Beck is?
So it wasn't by design. It was just that they have so many things. I mean, we're doing a lot more. There are a lot more to come.
So I want to get into this a little later, but this seems appropriate to bring it up here. Where the hell is Congress? Where are the Republicans?
Yeah, well, I think they're working hard. I think you're going to see that if we pass the, as I call it, the big beautiful bill.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about one bill.
Yes.
We were talking, as you remember, it was a debate on should we do one big one or should we do 3 or 4 or 2.
By the way, the Republicans all ran on during Biden. We're not going to do one big beautiful bill. This is fucking stupid. We're not doing 2 bills. We want to do a bill for every appropriation. The military budget will be passed as one thing. We're not going to add it to other shit to make us fund things we don't want to fund. And we'll debate these back and forth, and then whoever's in charge will have more control over the purse strings of any individual thing, so we can shove as much military funding through as we want to. But if we want to cut social programs or something like that, we'll separate those so that we don't feel the pressure of a must-pass bill or must-pass funding to make us vote for shit we don't like. We can just scuttle it because we're in charge. Didn't work. And they've thrown that out the window. Remember that? Does anybody remember that? 12 separate bills. That was the whole fucking talk. The only way we're going to get this budget under control is 12 separate bills. One for every big department.
And we're doing it in one bill, which I thought was much more beautiful because it's everything. It's everything. It's tax cuts, it's regulation cuts, it's things that you wouldn't believe. Lots of, big
Medicaid, Medicare cuts, Social Security cuts, Head Start, SNAP, food service, agricultural support for farmers, all kinds of cuts. Cuts you wouldn't believe. Regulation cuts you wouldn't believe, like lowering the standard for how much lead you can have in water and in paint and in fuel and fuck it,
It's big, and
salmonella, how much salmonella is okay?
we get that done. It's beautiful. And we are getting along very well. I will tell you, the Republicans, we had a majority a few months ago of 1 in the House. Now we have 7. That's a lot. We won 2 races and picked up a couple of others in addition. But we're up to 7. That's a big difference.
Will this
It's not a big difference.
will all your work go away, however, if they don't codify?
So we're going to codify.
Yes, we are. We're all big on codifying. Everybody loves the word I hear everywhere. People are saying it all over the place. Codify. They say codify. And I'm like, oh, we got to codify it. And I'm like, absolutely.
They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately.
All right.
And we're going to wait till after the bill is passed.
Then we'll codify after the bill is passed, the big beautiful bill. Then we'll start codifying the codified.
And then we're going to work on nothing but codifying. As an example.
Yes, that's right. 100% codifying all the time. We're going to turn everything into whitefish.
But the other day I did shower heads and sinks and the whole thing.
Thank you.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I was so worried about trade and small businesses going under and this bullshit manufacturing story, but thank you for signing an executive order that repeals standards on shower heads, because that's what was keeping me up at night, not the threat of Iran or the fact that Pete Hegseth ran a fucking phone line from the street into his office that any asshole hacker from the 80s could break into. That didn't bother me. It was, you try to wash your big, beautiful head of hair and, yeah, whatever.
Yes, it is.
No, you
It's so meaningful, yeah. So he's going to go off on this, isn't he? He's going to...
You go into a new building. And
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. This, number one, the terrible things that Biden did. not let us drill in Anwar, which may or may not have been a good source in the first place, period, and definitely would have toxified the idea, and it would have been private industry, it's not like America goes up there and does it. It's companies that we would lease that ground to. Terrible. And then secondly, last week I fixed the shower heads.
Hotel, and no water comes out. No water comes out of the sink. All of that's done with dishwashers.
Oh, okay. First of all, dishwashers in hotels, fabulous. No. Just gibberish. I travel all the time. I have to. I've never gone in one who's like, oh, Trump was right. If that happens, you hear the phone will ring in your room going, hey, something happened with our boiler. The water pressure's out. That's the only time that would happen. Maybe he's just talking about the Trump hotel. Maybe I wouldn't rule this out. Trump properties are such shit that he goes into one of his own properties and the water pressure is ass. And it's not, they don't want to tell him that the fucking boiler needs to be replaced and that no contractor will work with them because he stiffs them all. So they tell him the shower heads are just like that until he leaves.
We did a little thing, very little thing, but it was a big thing to some people, straws.
Jesus fucking Christ. Again, Russia, Ukraine, Gaza, fucking Sudan, domestically, job losses, the cost of living going up, the cost of groceries going back up, wholesale price of eggs comes down, commercial or retail cost of eggs is going up because they shipped in eggs from overseas to be used for industrial use, but it had nothing to do with the actual eggs on the shelves. Straws.
We are now.
Womp, 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 womp. You did it, Glenn. You did it, man. You made it all the way to the White House and interviewed the big man, and he's sitting right across from you when you want to talk about Epstein and the JFK files and the Great Reset and how the World Economic Forum is trying to take all of our private possessions, and he's fucking blathering on about faucets and straws. You shithead, take it on the chin. Look at this.
Making again straws that are plastic straws as opposed to paper that melts.
Yeah.
That melts in your mouth.
Yeah.
And so many different things.
Yeah, so many different things, but those are the big ones that come to mind. Plastic straws and shower heads in hotels, which I tend to own.
It's been really amazing. A lot of them.
It has been amazing. Amazing is, I don't even think that word does it justice. Holy shit. What the fuck? Seriously. Glenn, hey buddy, next time, interview him before sundown.
Common sense.
What is the one thing that you think is...
What's the one thing you think is hugely important, more than anything? They don't allow you to put salt on French fries anymore. It's crazy. So we changed. I wrote an executive order last week. McDonald's fries can be 100% salt and still be called fries.
Maybe overlooked that you think is the most significant thing that you did?
Yeah. All the weird shit you're saying right now that you think is important? I just called them superficial to your stupid fucking face. And now I would like you to dig a little deeper and give me something I can sell to my viewers.
Well, I really think we've done a lot because biggest tax cuts like last, we had a tremendous 4 years.
But I mean the thing that you think to yourself, why isn't this getting more attention? This is big.
Oh, I know. Because there hasn't been anything except calamity. I mean, the tariff war is big, but it's a big pile of shit. That's big.
Well, if you look at, and this is not the biggest thing, but it's a big thing.
Oh my God, hold on, wait. I want to hear this whole thing, and I hit the center.
Well, if you look at, and this is not the biggest thing, but it's a big thing, men and women's sports, how these people can be promoted.
0.05% of the population, circumstance that barely ever happens, stuff that deserves an adult conversation, but will never fucking happen while this asshole is in charge. Huge. Huge.
Voting it even now is unbelievable. The men playing in women's sports. When we put a whole thing out on that, and
yeah, whole thing. Yeah, great. Cool, man. Way to handle the big shit, the presidential shit. Plastic straws, drippy shower heads, and your own bigotry. Congratulations. We all feel so much fucking better. Good God.
that's no longer a part of our fabric. Hopefully, we have a couple of people.
Part of our fabric.
Like Maine, the governor of Maine, who wants to play the game, and she's going to lose an election if she runs. I don't know if she runs. I couldn't care less, but she was one that
Apparently you do, because you brought her up. She didn't bring you up.
wanted to take it on. Even in California, they gave up on that one pretty much. That was something that's amazing.
I see. So it wasn't so much about your victory, but other people's surrender that you're taking credit for. Is that the idea?
Open borders to me are amazing. We don't have open borders. We have nice closed
Okay, so this is what Glenn wanted. Say the border.
borders now. We have people can come into our country, but they have to come in legally. But I mean, how amazing is that when you have? Because you're asking about things that I see that are amazing. That's amazing. That you can have an open border where prisoners from all over the world are allowed to come into our country. 11,888 murderers are allowed into our country. We have that.
Wasn't it 14,999 was the number that they were using, because it was just shy of one of 15,000? Also, that's over decades. These are the number of people in jail that have been tried for these things that are in American prisons. It's not like that's how many came across the fucking border. You'd never fucking, like, you couldn't even quantify that no matter how many people came across. You're like, well, on average, in any group of 180,000 people, there's got to be 16 serial killers or some shit, and you're just going to extrapolate that on the made-up number of who crossed the border in his own mind.
Number of murderers. We're taking them out as rapidly as we can. And by the way, we're being met with strong resistance from judges that are, I don't know where they come from. I don't know where they come from.
Let me go there. There's some amazing stats that I looked up. I don't think most Americans know this.
No, especially you, sir.
Bill Clinton turned away 12.3 million people. Formally returned home 1 million. He had 12 injunctions on him. George W. Bush, 10.3 million people, 2 million he turned around formally, 6 injunctions. Barack Obama, 5.5 million, 3 million he formally turned around.
Wow, so his ratio of people stopped versus turned around is way higher than yours.
And he had 12 injunctions. You have 30 last time, 30 last time, 30 this time.
Yeah.
And you're facing 190, you're 100 days in. Yeah. And you have 190 cases against you.
It's obstruction.
No, it isn't. By the way, the Biden administration, the Obama administration, and the Clinton and the Bush administrations, they had injunctions to get them about a broad policy thing. This asshole has individual case-by-human case injunctions, because in the case of, Kilmar Obrega Garcia, for example, there's probably 4 or 5 injunctions specific to that case. And there's a bunch of those. It doesn't have to do, like, everybody else, it was just broadly, they thought the policy was wrong, and therefore. Trump has individual lawsuits, singular injunctions, like, go get him, bring him back. You're also counting ones where there was a state court followed by a federal court followed by the Supreme Court, and any stays or any extensions along the way as another form of injunction. That's what he's counting here. The reason is because they dig in, they fuck up, and they won't admit to the fuck up and bring the person back in the case of Garcia or somebody like him. And then if they didn't, they would probably have a similar number of injunctions to everybody else.
What they're doing to the country is unbelievable. But we're getting it done, and we're winning. But it's so much more difficult than it should be. When you have a murderer that people are protecting, when you have people like, you read so much about the wonderful man from Maryland. Who was just wonderful, but he had on his he had on his knuckles tattooed MS-13.
No, he didn't. No, here's the thing. I think Trump held up that picture, which they had written MS-13 because they assumed that the things drawn on his knuckles meant MS-13, like there's 3 eye holes in a skull, or the eye holes in the nose hole make 3 on the skull, and the cross is 1. Like, so fucking, it's like, it's so stupid. Anyways, they were like, this means MS-13. They wrote MS-13 as a translation across the top of the knuckles on that picture. And do you think Trump knows that, or do you think he actually had like a typeface? Like he went in there and said, give me Arial bold across my here, MS-13, in case anybody I'm punching is fucking stupid and doesn't understand what my tattoos mean. Meanwhile, also, can I just point out again that Garcia, when they picked him up and they said he was a gang affiliate, they picked him up at the parking lot of a Home Depot where he was picking up odd jobs. And if MS-13 is this badass gang full of murderers and drug dealers and they control a huge, why are their operatives and their leaders having to pick up odd jobs in the Home Depot fucking parking lot?
You know, we didn't know he was MS-13, and the Democrats are working hard to protect him. And
no, they aren't. They're working hard to protect the American system and our rule of law. If he's guilty, bring him back, try him, and send him back out. You chicken shit.
You know, it's not, I don't want to get into his reputation, but it's not exactly stellar.
Yeah.
It's better than yours. You're an adjudicated rapist. He had accusations of domestic abuse by his ex, and she filed a TRO. It expired, and now they are happily living together and fine. And she wants him back. And she is not, there's no picture circulating her with a busted eye. She doesn't have a dress with evidence on it like E. Jean Carroll does. Let me put it this way. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was never friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and certainly not for a quarter century.
And when they do that, that's like, you know, how they protect open borders, as I said, or so many of the other things, you know, transgender.
Straws, transgender.
For everybody.
Okay. Fuck this weird, that phrase keeps coming up. Transgender for everybody. Okay, real quick, chat room, I need to make this clear to everybody. When he says transgender for everybody, that is not about transgender ideology, information, not transgender people. It has nothing to do with transgenderism at all. It has to do with transhumanism. He does not understand the phrase transhumanism, which is going beyond our biological limits, the singularity between, you know, computers and humans, and eventually humans become, you know, like living beyond our lifespan because we can download ourselves into the devices and blah, blah, blah. That's transhumanism. He thinks transhumanism, which is something that Elon Musk, by the way, is for. He thinks transhumanism means transgender for everyone. I got to be clear about that. When he hears, now, he doesn't know what transhumanism is, but he thinks that's what the word means, is transgender for everyone. I just want to make that abundantly clear. Because this goes back to, like, he thinks people who are seeking asylum came from insane asylums. They broke out of or were let out of insane asylums, so they're seeking asylum in the United States. That's what he thinks. He's an idiot. He really believes that. That's and without giving him the answer, Glenn Beck and none of these fuckers would ever ask him about it without giving him the lead-in that allows him to understand that I'm trying to get you to go somewhere. If you went, explain, I've heard all this stuff about transhumanism. What is that? Because I know what it is. You know what it is. We've all read stories about it. Fucking Beck is on about it all the time because he's for it and against it at the same time, all the time, without knowing. But without teeing him up, seriously, without teeing him up and letting him know you've been saying something wrong and this is what it's really about. You know, most, like, this is how they would ask it. They would go, people have been saying you don't know the difference between transgender and transhumanism. And obviously that's not true. What would you say to those people where, obviously transgender is about, sexual ideology and blah, 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 whatever their definition of it is. And transhumanism is about technology and the singularity, the kind of stuff like Neuralink and all that, where human beings would extend our lifespan. You know better than that. Like, there's no one that's going to ask him that question without that much front load on it to protect him from the answer. Guaranteed. And so every time he says transgender for everyone, I want to be abundantly clear, he thinks that's what the word transhumanism means. Right? Cool.
What does it tell you that the Democrats are trying to protect him, stop you at the border, and when you shut down USAID, which a lot of their money was coming from.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot of their money. All the color revolution money was there, and coming back here for color revolution. That they immediately respond to that, to Tesla or to Elon.
Yes.
And the worst of the worst. What does that tell you about them?
Well, they don't want to do anything about it. That's right. Well, when you look at the kind of money that we found, fraud, waste, abuse, when you look at billions of dollars given to people that had nothing, and billions. I mean, Stacey Abrams
had nothing and billions.
Was given $2 billion into an environmental account where she had $100.
Yeah, it's because that's how much, when you start a new thing, that's how much the account should have in it. So they started a bank account specifically for it. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't supposed to make money. It was a charity and a fund to support things. It wasn't about, she wasn't making a profit on it before she got the government grant. She was to oversee a government grant specific to one of the goals of the previous administration. Again, not waste, not fraud, not abuse.
$2 billion. Now, $2 million is a lot. 200,000 is a lot.
Right.
She's giving $2 billion out of that grouping.
That grouping. Nice grouping.
No, it's a terrible, terrible. Oh, and that was nothing compared to some of the ones that we found.
Yeah, that's nothing compared to some of them. That's why I keep bringing it up over and over again, even though I can't prove that it was waste, fraud, or abuse. I just don't like her, and giving a black lady that much money is clearly a problem, according to the Glenn Becks of the world. But there were so many others. Oh, my God, if I had time to go into it, I could. I just died on and on. And we don't have the kind of time for me to bring that up again and again. Did I tell you about plastic straws? Because amazing.
And the press doesn't even want to write about it, by the way.
My audience
is full of shitheads, is dopey, is a borderline cult of dough-headed morons. Sorry, you were saying.
Hear from every day. They're concerned about tariffs. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, they're not concerned about straws? You sure? You sure they're not worried about the drippy hotel faucets and that there's no water in the sinks, Glenn? What kind of fucking losers watch your show? Do they not golf or something? I mean, what? All right.
But they're also concerned about justice. And
where are you going with this? They are, really? So it really bothers them that an adjudicated rapist is president right now? They're really concerned about justice. And they don't understand why you would wish Ghislaine Maxwell well when she's in jail. Because she pimped for Jeffrey Epstein. They're really concerned about justice.
Not seeing the wheels of justice turn.
They're not seeing the wheels of justice? I think that's what Pam Bondi put on her list of goals. Not seeing the wheels of justice, right? Isn't that the...
Like Stacey Abrams, if she did something illegal.
Yeah, that's you might have accidentally stumbled onto something there, Glenn. If, that's a big fucking if. And I don't know if you know this, but if is one of those words that really falls into reasonable doubt, and it makes it really difficult for you to, put a case against somebody just because you don't like them. ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if, see what I mean?
She should go to jail.
Yeah, except
Is justice going to be pursuing these people in Russiagate or whatever the crime?
Russiagate. Yeah. Yeah, that's what he wants. He wants discovery in these cases, stupid. That's what he wants. He wants to take these people to fucking jail so every one of them can go, Your Honor, I need to see the Mueller grand jury transcripts and people will see that I'm innocent. If he can hide evidence and say that it doesn't exist, then how am I supposed to defend myself? And this is public fucking record, Your Honor, right? Please do, asshole. Please fucking do. I don't care. Liz Cheney, fucking Kinzinger, Adam Schiff, go for it, you dumb motherfucker. Because never mind the fact that their GoFundMe for legal fees will be through the fucking roof. It'll look like the Senate races in Georgia, how much money that shit'll raise. But they'll, in their discovery, all of the Mueller report shit will come out. All of it. They'll call Mueller, you dumb motherfucker. They'll call him to the stand and go, did Bill Barr say you are not allowed to look at his finances and I remind you, you're under oath? Yes. Like everybody who was like tap dancing around it last time, who were trying to, still maintain a sense of normalcy and comity in the government and let all this stuff slide through. They'll all, once they're on the stand, they can't do the political speak of, supporting the president because they're under oath. And these people have been, please, fucking everybody. I don't care who you go after. They're all going to ask for this shit. Knock yourself, Russiagate. Shut the fuck up.
Crimes might be.
Well, I think
COVID.
Pam Bondi is doing a fantastic job. She's our...
At what? Oh, yeah, totally, dude. The release of the Epstein, but the but the RF case, I mean, it's just copies of stuff we've seen before, but it's, there it is. Obviously, everybody, the Kennedys all been through that new material and they're like, aha! Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what everybody said happened. It's precisely what happened. Sure.
Our law enforcement person that's doing outstanding work. I really think so. I think Cash is going to be at FBI's doing a really great job.
Right.
Now,
yeah, are they? They're doing a great job? Like what? I'm dead serious. Like what? Rounding up one judge in Wisconsin because you got mad?
now, it's very early, so I can't. I can't really tell you, but.
Well, you can talk about the Epstein shit if you want. I mean, that was supposed to roll out. It was supposed to be ready to go. She spoke about it, and then all of a sudden, just fucking evaporated.
I think a lot of the things that you're talking about have to be looked at.
Yeah.
They have to be looked at.
Yeah. That they've been looked at, motherfucker. Everybody's looking at stuff. Is there ever? He was asking you about justice in these situations, right? And you're the one who's been saying you've been unfairly targeted by lawfare, and there's plenty of evidence, and corruption is everywhere. And yet, it's got to be looked at, and I think they're doing a great job. It's them. So Bondi and fucking Patel are doing their thing, and if they don't. I mean, I told them to do a thing, but I don't know that, I'm sure they're going to get to it eventually. Yeah?
Let me go back to the border here for a second.
Yeah, because this is totally a loser.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Is, I think, somewhere near the border. I'm not sure. It might depend on which one we're talking about at this point.
I mean, it seems that it is a failed narco state.
Shouldn't we bomb them? Why aren't we bombing fucking Mexico?
Is Mexico a failed state, narco state?
Well, I would say, in all due respect, and I really like the president a lot. I've gotten to know her, and I really like her. She's
Oh, yeah, what's her name?
an elegant, beautiful woman.
Yeah, what's her name? She's an elegant, beautiful woman. What's her name?
But I think it's run by the cartels,
Yeah.
and they have so much control over it. And I think the politicians are, they're afraid. I think the police are probably afraid. A lot of them are shot and
Yeah,
killed.
I know.
Yeah, which is, you know, obviously when that happens, you're going to be afraid.
And
I had a guy from
even
the-
the military is very much afraid.
I had a guy, an ATF agent, reach out to me and he said, Glenn,
Glenn, I'm in the ATF. I don't even know why I still have a fucking job. This is a useless organization. It shouldn't be here. I'm trying to get it shut down from the inside. Kash Patel was running the place. I thought, that'll do it. That'll finally get rid of the ATF, and it's still here. But anyways, I'm a jackbooted thug, according to you, and I have a question.
I wrote it down someplace, but
Someplace. I mean, this big pile of paper to my right. And I should have brought this, but, you know, I've got these little cards, but...
he said, have people in our ATF actually trace the numbers. He said they keep talking about all these guns that are in the hands of cartels and how they
Right.
get them across the border from America.
Right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what Fast and Furious was trying to stop, which you guys were against.
He's like, all of those numbers correlate with the numbers that come from the Pentagon, the arms that we officially ship to their military.
Yes.
And he said, they're taking the military guns and using those. He's like,
Nothing surprises me.
By the way, which means that would have happened under your presidency last time and is currently happening the same way. So any weapons we ship to Mexico are ending up in the hands of the cartel now and while you were president the last time. And you didn't know it or care about it or do anything about it, or I guess this detail didn't come up. By the way, this is bullshit, but whatever.
When you see the kind of drugs coming in, comes in from China. You know, we tax them 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck me. It's just gonna get dumber, isn't it?
Yosemite.
This is gonna be bad. This is yeah, but it's gonna be
Michigan gave us Motang.
level bad.
Because of what they've done with fentanyl, but it goes through Mexico.
Bentonol, which if you don't know is it's fentanyl if you have a nasal infection. Bentonol. I have a bentonol.
Largely, and it goes through Canada too, by the way.
Right.
A lot goes through Canada, but it comes through Mexico and Canada. But when you watch Mexico, what's happening, it's pretty amazing. And we've shut down the border, but we've shut it down. And I didn't need laws passed.
I know.
You know,
Yeah, you do. That's why there's $240 billion added to the budget for the fucking border.
as the
I love
expression
that
goes, they
line.
just needed a new president.
Yeah, I
that's all.
know.
Yeah, that's good. But the guns are still going to Mexico and they're still ending up in the cartels. So you are arming the cartels willingly, knowingly, stupidly. What is happening? I'm just kidding. Tell me about the straws again. The straw thing. I'm starting to lose my MAGA boner.
You said shut down the border. We shut it down, and we shut it down tight. But yeah, Mexico.
Well, I mean, this way, obviously, the guns can still go out. So, you know, it's porous, but in one direction.
Mexico's got some very big problems.
I would imagine the people of Mexico, because if I were in Mexico, I've often role played. If I
Yes, my wife and I will sometimes play. I'll play the dirty Mexican, and she'll play the white jogger. It's a dirty thing that we play back and forth or whatever. She insists.
were in Mexico and I was living in a failed narco state and everybody I voted for was being killed and my family was being threatened, I'd try to get across the border as
Right.
well.
You might be onto something there. That goes into the realm of that. But those people belong obviously in insane asylums, you know, because that's nuts. Obviously, you'd have to be nuts, and then you'd be in an insane asylum. And then you would seek asylum in the United States.
It would only make sense.
Right. Now, way to fuck his whole argument, right?
But when your government won't do anything about it or can't do anything about it, honestly, I would be at bed at night next to my kids praying that, special forces might just kind of pay some people some visits in the middle of the night.
You're right, Glenn. And I've asked.
That's right, Glenn. Most of Mexicans are sitting there laying in bed with their children in the middle of the night. Is this part of the role playing? Because I'm starting to get really disgusted. And they're just praying that we start bombing them.
I said, would you like some help? I'd be glad to give you help. No, 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 we don't want help. They really don't want help. And please, please, we do not want help.
Elegant woman. Lovely lady. Talks like a Neanderthal who's been hit with a shovel. No, no, yes, 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 no, we want no help. I know you're getting mixed messages from me, but only have single syllable. Oh, said syllable, now brain hurt. This is the conversation this fucker had with Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president.
No, we don't want help. They do. Would you like some help? I'd be glad to.
Would you like some help? I called him up. I'm just being helpful. And by help, I mean, would you like me to carpet bomb sections of your country? Would you like some help? I have some Moabs right here. I could hit entire cities. Do you remember that shit we did in Iraq? I could do that in Mexico if you sure? You sure? Motherfucker.
Give you help. No, 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 we don't want help. They really don't want help. And please, please, we do not want help.
Please, please, we do not want that kind of help. What you're calling help, we call death from above. Fuck you.
And
But isn't it at
I think
some
they
point,
need help.
At some point,
Yeah, at some point, don't you have to just bomb them without permission and just declare them a narco state and attack? Don't you have to? I mean, in the name of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
isn't it?
Well,
Latter-day Saints. You mean from the fucking 1800s forward? All right.
I can't tell you about that because
No, because it's a big secret. But I'm just saying, if the tariff shit doesn't go really well, kaboom, kaboom. That if you want to talk about wagging the dog, that tail is right there. To quote Eeyore, it's not much of a tail, but I'm kind of attached to it.
that would be breaking news, wouldn't it?
That wouldn't be a break. Boy, that'd be all over the place if we just, I don't know, bombed another country for no fucking reason at all. Sure.
But you could say at some point.
Who put the Pooh Bear up there when I did that? Somebody did a Winnie the Pooh emoji for the Eeyore quote. Thank you for that, Twitch. What's happening? Hype train. Let's do it.
Maybe something's going to have to happen. It can't go on the way it is. Look, when we closed the borders, that was a big deal. And we had to fight very hard to close. That was not just as simple as it sounded, because it happened fast. There were lots of skirmishes that went on, because that was a big revenue source for a lot of people.
Yeah, Texas. What revenue source? What are you talking about? What skirmish? Who went down there and fought you on it?
But no, we're here to help Mexico if we can. I like
help them by bombing them. I love the smell of help in the morning.
the president very much. I like the people. So many of the representatives.
Yes, I love the president. What's her name? Who's her face? What's her? Claudia Schleinenberger. Yeah, to her. Yeah.
But it can't be easy for them. I think it's a very dangerous job.
So some people, the last administration, they didn't want to check anybody's ID or ask any questions on the way in.
Right.
A lot of them didn't have ID. That was part of the issue.
COVID, in the height of COVID. We don't even check them for that.
Don't check them for anything.
Nobody was coming. The height of COVID was during Trump's presidency, asshole.
Bring them in. Now they all seem to want to check them on the way out.
Yep.
And the
Not because of the person, but because of the rule of law.
judges are, I think it was...
I have it written here on a card next to the Naziing of the kind of thing we want in the DOJ.
it was...
This is good. This is good. Glenn, you have it. It's right there, man. Again, you know what? If you can't remember, start talking about how Biden was old and can't remember shit. Call it a Biden moment and blame him for the fact that you couldn't find your ass with both hands.
Senator Mike Lee that said this is judicial insurrection.
Yeah, I think you could say that.
He did.
I'm not a big fan of Andrew Jackson. I know you are. Andrew Jackson took care of this constitutionally.
Right.
Would you consider taking care of this some way or another with the judges in a constitutional way?
Jesus Christ. It's like he just asked him, like, you said Epstein was a great guy and he loves to party. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun, da-da-dun. All right, they'll answer it when he comes back after he sells, he does an ad for Dick Hurt. There we go, whatever it is. By the way, what's this DEI breakfast that they're like, you don't have to eat all this gay fruit and vegetable stuff. Just take a pill like a man. It's a suppository, but still.
Well, I hope we don't have that problem.
Well, okay. Well, all right. So, so you don't have to come up with a solution. That's awesome.
And I hope we don't have to get into it, but I will say we have millions of people in this country right now that are criminals.
Uh-huh. Right. I mean, but outside of your administration, what do you think?
And you see how fast we're getting them out.
By the half dozen.
And we're going to get them out even faster.
Oh, so by the dozen.
But when you have to get out and do court cases for individual people, and you would have, in theory, millions of court cases, you know what that means. If you had one court case, it takes forever. Millions of court cases? They're really saying you're not allowed to do what I was elected to do. I was elected.
Also, no, actually. If you just did all the people, if you just kick out all the people, and again, Biden, Obama, Bush, they did millions over the course of their presidency. You could do it in a shorter period of time if you funded the actual acting of it, but it wasn't because they had to do individual cases on any of these people. They just didn't throw out the baby with the bathwater, literally in the case of 3 babies that you and your asshole friends have kicked out of the country right now. But they didn't just blindly include people in these large groups. They were just careful about it, like they gave a shit. They didn't have all these lawsuit problems, even though their numbers are greater than yours.
For a very big part of it was the border and getting people out, because I said, and the stats reveal it. When you look at Tren de Aragua,
it is hard to say all at once. Tren de Aragua. It's when you turn into walking. Tren de Aragua.
You look at MS-13, when you look at these gangs and just really bad criminals coming in. You know, we have many murderers, people that killed, 50% of which killed more than one person.
50% of them have killed one person, and the other, did they kill them all by themselves, or did they share in it? Like if 2 guys killed 2 people at the same time, do they get credit for 2 people or 4 people? Or half a person, or 1? I mean, they both killed 2 together, but there's 2 of them, so are they in the...
They put them into our country through open borders, and now we have to go to court to get them out?
Nope. No. You just have to prove that they actually are criminals if you're going to get people out and send them to an El Salvadoran prison. That's the difference. You're not talking about getting them out in general. You're talking about sending them to an El Salvadoran gulag, you dumb fuck. So yeah, the standard's going to be higher than deportation to the other side of the wall.
I don't think the people of our country are going to stand for it.
They're already telling you to fuck off.
Let me switch. You were elected for several things.
Yes, one of them is championing all the rapists in the country by being their hero.
One of which was to reduce the size of the government, and thank you for the Department of Education. Thank you for the USAID. Thank you.
Which he doesn't have the power to get rid of. And the Department of Education, sorry, that's how he's implementing his attacks on Harvard. That's how he's, implementing his plans about making everybody pay back their student loans in full, and if you default, fuck you. The Department of Education is how they're doing it. If he shuts down the Department of Education, that just vanishes.
Thank you for the things you're doing on that. It was announced, I think, yesterday that Elon is possibly reducing his role, not leaving, but reducing his role in May. It was a true $2 trillion goal. It was reduced to $150 billion.
Did you really have to write that down? Everybody knows that figure. 2 trillion. Woo, 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 woo. Boop, boop. It's kind of like the game he talked to Stormy Daniels on the golf course versus the what actually happened in the hotel room. Is an analogy. I think you went from 2 billion to woo, 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 boop, boop.
Is that lawsuits? Is that deep state?
No, that's money found, and it's a lot of money. You know,
It's not 2 trillion. It's not even 1 trillion. It's not even half a trillion.
$150 billion. And think of it, that's a lot of money. Now,
Is it though? I mean, it's a lot of money in a pile, but it's not in compared to $7 trillion in the federal budget. Asshole.
it's continuing, and it will continue. You know, it's not easy. These are thieves.
No, I know.
In many cases, thieves.
Well, if it's thieves, then fucking arrest them. This goes back to our why are we not seeing justice? You'd have to ask Laura Ingraham, I think.
In some cases, it's incompetence and all, but
On Kash Patel's part or on Pam Bondi's part? Or both? I think both. Yeah.
it's also thieves.
Thieves. Thieves in the temple tonight.
That number's
Now I've got that stuck in my head and I can't even, sorry about that. By the way, chat room, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. Venmo is @HalSparks. Oh, 7 and we'll watch them fall. They'll stand in the way of love and we will smoke them all with their intellect and their savoir-faire. I'm sorry, Thieves in the Temple is going to make me think of that album, and then that's going to be stuck in my head, and then that's, I mean, what do you expect me to do but sing some Prince? And I can't do it with Trump on screen, so I had to leave and come back and say hi to you guys. All right.
continuing, but that's, if you just stopped at that number, that's a tremendous number.
No, it's not. It's not. If you stop at that number, it's a fucking failure. And compared to, like, you destroyed 20 trillion dollars, like, in the world economy, like $2 trillion in the stock market in weeks. You just wiped it the fuck out to save $150 billion that you think is waste, fraud, and abuse, which fucking isn't. Getting rid of the Department of Education, getting rid of USAID, which you can't do, but you're claiming you have, and so you're zeroing out the funding to make up this $150 billion bullshit number, which you can't do, whatever. And I guarantee the fucking Department of Education funding is still in the bill, you know, the big beautiful bill, still in there. You know why? Because red states need the fucking money.
You know, we found things that you wouldn't believe.
You're right. I don't believe you found things.
And then there's others that you look at certain roles of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, where people that don't exist are on, where...
And checks that don't exist are going out and being cashed at banks that don't exist, used to buy items that don't exist.
People that do exist, but they're not supposed to be on our own. You know, we have, that's just building up. That number's building up very rapidly.
No, it's not.
I think you're going to be remembered as the AI president. I think.
You'll be known as the artificially intelligent president.
I don't know if you feel this way at all, but AI is going to define the
very
next.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
It's big. It's where it's at with the hip cats today.
And you are the first one to really talk about it, really take it on.
Well, he repealed all the safety measures the Biden administration had put forward in their guidance about it.
And surround yourself with people who know what this is.
Yeah, you're like the crypto asshole and Elon, who has a 4th-tier shitty LLM that he runs out of Memphis. Yeah, huge. But look, luckily, Glenn is obviously going to explain. Is that the next segment? Is that like AI? Trump touts $7 trillion investments? Okay, yeah. All right.
Has Elon been helping you at all on AI or?
Well, he probably knows more than anybody
Yeah.
else that I know about it.
Yeah.
But we have some great people here, and I don't know that that's how I'm going to be defined, but AI is certainly very important, and we're pressing it very hard. We have trillions of dollars being invested,
Yeah.
and whatever it is, if you're
Thanks. Yes, I'll.
not into that world, you have to say, whatever it is, it's big.
Yeah, whatever AI is, I don't know. Everybody talks about it, hear about it all the fucking time. So it must be huge, and do we have the best, guys? I've heard about this whole AI thing. Do we have the best of it? Oh yeah, boss. We got the best kind of,
Gee, I wish we had one of them doomsday machines.
yeah.
Because the biggest people are coming in, and companies with more money than anything else you can imagine. More
No, actually.
than even the car plants. We're opening up many, many car
No, you're not.
plants.
Nope, absolutely. Unless this asshole thinks cars grow on trees. I planted a car fern, and we're gonna have our great farmers are gonna pluck the cars from underneath the leaves.
Factories, if you want to call them that, because that's what they are.
Plants, factories. They're really factories, not plants. But you know what I'm saying. If I say plant, it sounds like vegetation, which is obviously gay and doesn't help us at all. But factory sounds like it has fact in it, which is very upsetting. I would rather call it a plant than a factory, because when I say fact, do you get this, Glenn? Do you get when you say it feels like appendicitis, but I think it's on the wrong side? It's kind of in the middle. Like I get a little cramp when the word fact comes.
And
A fact. Or, I don't know.
they're coming in from Mexico. They're coming in from Canada. They're coming in because of the tariffs.
So USMCA sucked, is what you're saying? It was just ass. It was just a complete and abject failure. We never didn't really solve this problem, even though it was the greatest trade deal ever. Just shit the bed.
We're getting record numbers. We have over $7 trillion worth of investment already. Think of that. It's going to be
$27 trillion economy, $7 trillion over a abstract amount of time, much of which is layered. So probably about $1.5 trillion, if they even do it.
unbelievable. But AI is one of the biggest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I saw it. Have you seen it, Glenn? Have you gone down to see AI? Yeah, I saw it. Oh my God, it glows and it has this big blue face. I think, or it might have been watching iRobot. I forget.
these places that they're building,
Oh, this is going to be good. Please go into it. Please get detailed about this. Please explain to us all about the
Illudium Q-36 explosive space modulator.
if you said $200 million, $300 million, that's for a corner of the building.
Right.
These are the biggest things, and I'm making it possible, as you probably know, with AI.
Oh yeah, you're making it possible, not computers and time moving forward, as it has an annoying habit of doing. Even though some of us, I gotta say, might be aging backwards. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that that's happening, but I might be Benjamin Buttoning. I know some people have accused me of that lately.
The one thing is that you need massive amounts of electricity.
Energy.
And I'm getting it.
Energy. Did he just say energy? Hold on. Energy. Why would you whisper that, you creep?
Is that you need massive amounts of electricity.
Energy.
And I'm getting
Energy. Congratulations, Glenn. You managed to sound dumber than Trump. I don't know how it's possible. Energy. Listen to that again. It's not me. Listen carefully.
one thing is that you need massive amounts of electricity.
Energy.
And I'm getting
Energy. Energy. And is that like when a electric plant is run on adrenochrome or something? Entergy. Fuck, that's some of the most disgusting ASMR I've ever heard in my fucking life. Glenn Beck, wait, chat room. Glenn Beck just whispered Entergy at Trump in the White House. Entergy. This is like Glenn Beck's new cologne. Entergy by Glenn Beck. What the fuck is Entergy? It's not just me, right? You guys heard that, right? Listen.
The thing is, you need massive amounts of electricity.
Energy.
And I'm getting it for them.
Oh shit! Okay. Please tell me I'm not. Oh god damn it! Entergy. And look at how proud Glenn Beck is of himself. You think he's in his mind going, I just said fucking Entergy. What the fuck is Entergy? And now that's on tape, and I was talking when he was talking, so we can't even cut it out. Glenn, you're a fuck up, and you'll always be a fuck up, just like Daddy said. Entergy. Thank you. We all heard it. Thank you, 56 Nick Rich. I have to be. Okay, that's got to be a short clip. We've got to obviously release Entergy. I need to like find a weird bottle so I can just. Entergy from Glenn Beck. And they just need like, you know how they have those ads with like Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, or Johnny Depp playing guitar next to a wolf selling perfume, but it's got to be like Ted Nugent. Entergy. Now with 100% more skank. Which is, of course, Ted Nugent's cologne. It's truck stop toilet seat with a touch of garbage. Okay, I gotta try to get
massive amounts of electricity.
Energy.
And I'm
oh, fuck me. Yeah, that's great. It's just like, and now I want to. Oh shit! I want chat room. I want to smash cut back to like shaboom 2 weeks ago. I bet you couldn't whisper Entergy to Trump if you wanted to. I will. No, you won't. I bet you anything, Stu. You got to work. You lost the bet. You have to work the word Entergy into the conversation. It's shit. Entergy. Oh God. Oh shit. There are you know, there are, as much as we have to like hashtag Entergy, which is, yes, it's entropy and the end of the Trump, it's the scent of the end of Trump. Entergy, made from Trump's real end. Entergy. A new cologne from Glenn Beck. Ah, shit. Okay, one more time and then I'll move on. I swear to God. You need tremendous amounts of energy.
One thing is you need massive amounts of electricity.
Energy.
And I'm
Sorry. That's never not going to be funny. Fuck me. That's, energy. Wait. All right. Now, hold on. Let's go over to here. I need a promo image for a perfume called Hold on. Oh, energy. Whew. Hashtag energy. I think it's spelled with an O, but that's just me. Energy. Wait, 1 second. I'm putting AI to good use. Give me a second. Nut juice. Oh, made from fresh nut juice. Ugh. Shit. Okay. Eccentricity. Eccentricity. The song of the summer. Yes, energy. Right. Hold on. This looks. It might work out. I feel like I'm in the 90s, waiting for an image to download. But god damn. Oh god. Okay, this is pretty good. I asked for something very specific, and it did not disappoint. Hold on. Let's move this down here. Energy. A New Scent by Glenn Beck. Oh, that's good. All right. Anyways, sorry, chat room. It's a good first pass. I'll just give him that. All right. Well, okay. All right. We're back. We're back. I got it together. I can finish the show. I got 15 minutes left. I can finish the show. God damn it. Okay, here we go. Energy.
getting it for them, and I'm getting
How
them
are you to Eric
immediate approval, and I'm letting them.
Okay, obviously the word gremlin is in the scene. Is in the house. Energy followed by
Getting it for them, and I'm getting
How
them
are you to Eric
immediate approval.
immediate approval, which is so much better than approval. It's an improved approval process that I came up with. I call it improval.
And I'm letting them build their electric plant. In other words, they're becoming really a producer of electricity. So
Nuclear plants?
they can use nuclear if they want
No, they can't.
for the energy. They need to create
Because
electricity.
Eric Schmidt said yesterday or the day before, we use 3%. They use 3% of the power. They're going to need, by 2027, 99% of the
They
power.
need more electricity than we have right now in our
Right.
country,
Right.
powering everything. Which
And
is
you'll
crazy.
cut all of the red tape and get that
We're
built?
going to get it done.
Yes, if it means the rest of the people have to live in darkness so AI can be fed. Yeah, all the red tape that says people have a right to utilities in the modern world, fuck that. It's all going to go straight to the AI must be fed. Feed me.
And very quickly, we're
That's
going to let them
amazing.
become utilities.
It's supper time.
Actually, we're going to let them build their own electric plant because
Wow.
when they first
Wow, that's amazing. and expensive and not going to happen.
This came to me. I heard this number that we have to double electricity on it, and we're way ahead of China right now. By the way, you probably heard way ahead on AI.
On AI, yes.
And they don't have the problem with electricity because you know that takes one person's approval.
Right.
We have to go through a process.
Yeah, they can pollute whatever the fuck they want. We have this annoying thing where we're trying to stop cancer clusters. I don't know what we're thinking.
And I call it a national emergency. We have.
Which is how he gets a lot of shit done, define everything as a national emergency and count on Congress to not push back because they're a bunch of wusses. And therefore, if you declare an emergency, you can just let shit go through.
We're going to be number one. We're going to be number one on everything. We have to be. Or we're going to lose our spot, and that's not going to happen.
Our spot? Sorry. Our spot? Sorry, you have a government based on dibs or shotgun?
If we have competent presidents, we will do great. If we don't have competent presidents, we just witnessed 4 years of the most incompetent.
Okay, all right, yeah. Okay, flathead, listen. You don't get to answer a question on AI by bitching about the last president who knew more about it than you do.
Human being anyone's ever imagined, and it really hurt this country. But we're bringing it back fast.
The
what was I gonna? Oh shit! You know, I was gonna ask you that thing, but I know your answer is gonna be terrible, and I can't do that to you. I was gonna ask you a specific question, but I know Stephen Chung's standing over there, and he'll put me in a fucking headlock.
you say if we don't have competent presidents.
Yeah.
Will you be my president forever? Please, forever. Please stay, Papa.
You and I have talked before on tariffs, and I give you the benefit of the doubt because you're the best negotiator this country has ever had, probably the best the world has
better
seen.
be.
Yeah,
We need it.
we need it.
I better be. I don't know, maybe. Okay, who really knows? Nobody, not me. I don't know. Maybe not. Also, in case I didn't warn you guys beforehand, if he sits up, we're all fucked. We're all going to be blind like Medusa, like flashed her vajayjay at us.
And you've earned the right.
By what? Not writing The Art of the Deal? You made a great deal when you hired a ghostwriter to write your deal book? Shut the fuck up. You earned the right. If anything, Trump Casino, Trump Steaks, Trump Water, Trump Vodka, Trump Airlines, Trump Football, the Taj Mahal. I mean, honestly.
It concerns me about Congress not stepping up because...
Yeah, because I don't know if you know this, but they have to actually do some shit.
Of regulations and tax cuts, those things have to go through to be able to complete all of this.
I think you'll be surprised. Now, when I say Congress, Republicans in
Yes.
Congress, because we have majorities. They're not big majorities. In the Senate, we're up 3, which is okay. And in the House, we're up 7, as I said. And we are going to be coming forward with, it's the biggest bill, I think, in history. And
Well, it's certainly the most expensive one.
I think you will say that if we get that passed, you're going to give them very good marks.
Good.
Because everything's in that bill.
Okay.
And then all we have to do is work the bill, work the magic. But it'll be the biggest tax cut in history. It'll be the biggest regulation cuts.
Also, the tax cuts, just an extension of the same one. They're actually gonna raise taxes in theory to pay for the rest of it in some areas. Again, nobody knows.
In history, it'll be so many other things. And
It'll be a lot of other things, mostly other things.
I think that if Congress gets them approved, and I think they will, now we will get no votes from Democrats. It's horrible. It's
Terrible. Horror. And all I do is call them enemies of the state and threaten them with jail and call them traitors and call them sick and accuse them of wanting open borders so that rapists can pour into the country just to draw attention away from the fact that my voters voted one into office.
the divide is so incredible. You look at what's going on. I mean, Schumer did the right thing, and he ends up being excommunicated from his party.
No, he's still a Democrat.
When you think about it, right?
No, when you think about it, he's still a Democrat. He's still the leader of the Senate, even even now. There was no coup. They didn't force him to step down. They didn't have this like chaotic bullshit you had in the House.
The level is just so bad there. Their policy is so bad. They're great at cheating and they're great at certain things, but
Passing infrastructure bills and healthcare bills and actually funding things and protecting the environment and workers' rights and
they are so bad on policy. They're so far off.
Well, yeah, but just in case you want to know, what he means by bad on policy is that they don't want to let Netanyahu do whatever he wants in Gaza, for example, and they support the right to unionize and that kind of thing, and which is obviously bad on policy. So, yeah.
When I watch them trying to prosecute the same things that they just lost an election in a landslide on, and they're still going through the same things, it's crazy. And they don't know who their leaders are. They have a new one, Crockett. Have you seen Crockett? Have you ever seen her talk?
Oh.
Have you ever seen her talk? Have you ever seen her talk?
I do, because I have a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
Ah, I see.
Action replays in magnified fortune.
Have you ever seen her talk?
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
You've never. I don't know that I've ever. I've seen her while she's talking, and I've heard her talk.
To me, Corona means Italy.
Right.
Euromisia.
Right. So, have you ever seen her talk?
Free health care for illegal. Look.
Right.
And then voila.
So you can.
De-engineering.
There you go. All right.
This is going to be their leader.
I hope she's the next candidate for president.
We can hope in one way, but in other words, it's pretty demeaning. It's demeaning to our country.
It's demeaning to our country. Why? Because she's black? Because you think she talks black? Is that what it is?
But you don't see anybody else.
John Kennedy can talk like a fucking Okie character in a 1950s Disney movie. Like he's got a fucking piece of wheat straw coming out of his mouth every time he says stuff and whistles while he speaks like a fucking gopher. But Jasmine Crockett's embarrassing. I see.
Up there.
So I
By the way, this is the segment where they were talking about AI. I would like to remind everyone.
This is pure conjecture here, but
so it'll fit right in with everything else you've been talking about?
In trying to understand you and the moves that you made, when you...
Which no one can. Unless they're like, oh, he wants to destroy everything.
Called the Tariff Day, Liberation Day. That harkened to me back to the end of the war, World War II.
Yeah, as sort of ironically ridiculous, I would presume.
And I'm wondering, because of all of the moves you've made, NATO, the endless wars, everything else that goes.
And of course, the Nazi uniform that Glenn Beck wore on the cover of one of his books. You're wondering if maybe, I don't know if you find the time, could you undo the ending of World War II and put the real people who should have won in charge?
Along with this. Are you signaling to the world
that this is the Fourth Reich? Please say yes, please say yes, please say yes.
That this is not just tariffs. This is an end to the order that we built after World War II.
You mean where we built the biggest middle class in the country and had the longest stretch of prosperity in human history? And that was so big we could actually drag China out of poverty along with us? You mean that? Yeah, fuck that.
Because it might have been good after World War II for everybody.
No, it was great. That's one of the reasons why they call it the greatest generation. Like it was because the years afterwards proved that these people's sacrifices were worth something.
But we're not the suckers anymore. That's long past, and it's time to transform.
I see. So the people who fought and won World War II and then built our world system afterwards were suckers unlike this
That
dipshit.
is so well, because people don't talk about that. Even I don't mention it enough. We helped countries after World War
Right.
II. We helped them rebuild, and the Korean War with South Korea.
Right.
And we never stopped.
Never.
And
Right, and it benefited us, both morally and
they
financially.
became very successful, and they stole our
And so did we.
businesses. Look, South Korea took our car business, our shipbuilding business, so many different businesses,
No, they didn't.
technology, electronics. If you look at Japan, and I'm not knocking them, I think it's great what they did for them. The one I'm knocking and the people I'm knocking are our presidents and our leaders,
Yeah.
that we allowed that to happen.
So I was talking to somebody last night.
Yeah. I don't know who they were. They were just in the next stall over at the truck stop or whatever. Anyways, we weren't really talking with words. We were using our hands. But the important thing,
Who's around? The
I think he, if I remember correctly, he said,
Did you hear that? Yeah. It's a dickfer. What's a dickfer? To pee with.
yeah.
economy and knows it quite well. And
Yeah, that guy. Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. How dare I? The guy you know who knows the economy quite well that you were talking to last night, him. Yeah, he's friends with the president, what's her name, of Mexico.
I said to them,
Oh, he uses they, them pronouns? Sorry, they use they, them pronouns? This person who knows a lot about the economy that you magically know and you were seeing last night? Does your wife know? You're out of town.
I'm not a fan of tariffs. I've talked to the president about it. However,
You might be.
I might be in
Nope.
the end.
You might.
However,
I might be in the end. And it feels like the end. It really does. This feels like the end. If you keep going with this, it feels like the end.
I don't see anyone else with another option. And I feel like this is our last chance.
That's because you're an idiot.
And if you can't get it done, if we can't make this turn, we're done. And this individual,
Why? Why? I mean, if you believe everything that he believes and that, certainly Musk and all these other guys believe about manufacturing coming back to the United States, but in an automated form, that's going to happen anyways. China can't do anything about it. China's entire economic model is, because of the volume of people they allegedly have, is keeping their workers busy and offering cheap labor. But if the rest of the world can just buy the machines and do it themselves, or build those machines themselves using AI and decent engineers, nobody's even looking at the economy that's going to occur. It will have nothing to do with the current state of affairs. Like, that'll just collapse under its own weight. It's just dumb.
reached out and put their hand on my shoulder and said, "No, Glenn, we're done." How serious is the situation that America is in if we don't turn this corner?
Oh my God, the one big chance America has under Trump. Sorry, so this they, them pronoun stranger that we have to assume you know their name but won't tell anybody that you were hanging out with last night at an undisclosed location in Washington, D.C., put their hand on your shoulder and told you a doomsday story. Now, granted, I'm assuming that you were bent over the sink and the hand on your shoulder was on the right arm, right shoulder. Okay. Good Lord. Yeah, does Tucker know? I feel like he'll be jealous. Life-saving medications, Jesus Christ.
So we have one big chance to become really amazing.
Fuck you. We're the largest economy in the world. We're the biggest military by times 6 in the world. We're the industrial center. Our stock market, at least until recently, was the hub of all major business in the world, even including all the other stock markets combined. And also, I don't need permission from the federal government to be amazing. I just am, you dizzy, orange, flatulent fuck.
And that's with me, whether we like it or not. I
Not.
hate to put that weight on my shoulders, but that's what we have.
Yes, it's such a burden being you.
Because we were ripped off by every country. I always say friend and foe. And honestly, the friend was oftentimes worse.
But is it? You do realize that foe means like an enemy, not the number that comes between 3 and 5, right?
Than the foe. Ripped off on trade, ripped off on the military too. Hey Glenn, when I got involved, NATO, I wasn't a big expert in NATO, but
No, fuck that NATO story. Stop.
I have a lot of common sense, and I figured it out in about 2 minutes. Nobody was paying. I mean, they weren't paying their bills. So we were defending
Also, there weren't bills. They're not bills. They don't pay us.
Europe, and we're getting ripped off by Europe in trade.
No, they're two separate things. The NATO alliance is separate from the trade we would have back and forth. I don't know why they would be aligned, because we're not a protection racket.
It was like massive. No country can sustain that. We were paying most of the bill for NATO.
Right.
And when I say most, I mean like in the 80s and 90% and maybe 100.
Gibberish.
And I got involved and I said, you're going to have to pay your bills or we're not going to be here for you any longer. And they said, well, does he really mean that? And they said, you mean if...
Oh, this fucking story again. Also, like, again, they would build up not because they're like, oh, he's threatening us and we want to make good on our bills, but that America's backing out. We're going to have to up our investment in our military to make up for the gap because America is on Russia's side under this asshole.
If we don't pay the bill, you're not going to be here. Nope, I'll be gone.
Good for you.
And they said...
By the way, good for you. By the way, this I would like to remind you with this all started with Glenn telling us a story about his buddy that he met in a truck stop bathroom who uses they them pronouns. We're piecing it together. It's hard to tell from his description, who will remain unnamed, obviously, because I think Glenn's still married. And this happened in another city that he doesn't live in, but last night, which explains why there's gaps in his cognition, because he might just be exhausted and too poop to pop, as they say, and I think Smokey and the Bandit. This started as a conversation about tariffs, not about NATO. NATO has nothing to do with tariffs, except for the fact that he doesn't want to be a part of NATO anymore, and he thinks that's going to save enough money to give him room for his tax cuts. If we're not part of NATO, we can take the NATO money and put that towards savings that he can excuse his tax cuts. Never mind the cost that will come later, because fuck those people.
And the Secretary General of NATO, Stoltenberg, good guy,
Neto?
said he has done something that I've never witnessed before. Because Bush would come in, give a speech and leave. Obama would come in, give a speech and leave. Biden we don't even talk about because he followed me. He let it get out of control. But he said Trump came in, didn't give a speech, made a nice speech, but didn't care about it. What he cared about was the fact that nobody was paying. They weren't paying their bills. So we were ripped off. We were defending them, and they were killing us with the European Union, which was formed for the sole purpose of taking advantage of the United States of America. And I said, this isn't going to go on. So,
So anyways, tell us, help calm Glenn down about the dude who was, I guess, holding both shoulders as he was bent over the sink in the men's room at the come and go.
I'm not so popular in Europe because of, what I've done, but in many...
Right. Supporting far-right candidates, introducing authoritarian mentality into some of the, like, ancillary, secondary EU countries, supporting the worst of the worst in terms of Erdogan and Orban and Putin. Yeah, I can see why they wouldn't like that.
Anyways, I am popular. People don't want to see us fail.
If it wasn't for their press that is worse than ours, because most
I beg your pardon?
of it is state-run, I think you would be popular, because the people are in the same position.
They get it.
They get it. It's
Then why is he unpopular with the people?
happening in their country, and I don't understand how.
It is happening over there. It's happening.
I mean,
Yeah, liberty, freedom, inclusion, it's terrible.
I just read a report that they said Sweden, the Netherlands, could be out by 2030.
You're going to run out of nether? They're going to be out? Sorry, wait, 1 second. We are fresh out. Sorry, we are fresh out. I checked in the back. We have no nether left.
No, I talked to Liz Truss just a couple of weeks ago, and she said, Glenn, England is a failed state.
Yeah.
How are the...
She's been very nice. She's been saying good things about
Yeah.
me. You know, she got...
The shaft.
I think so. I mean, she basically said, oh, I want to reduce taxes, and they threw her out.
Yeah.
And she was right. You know, I reduced taxes. It's one of the things that made us do so well.
Yeah.
Because we had the strongest economy in history during my first 4 years. You know,
Wrong.
my first 4 years was incredible.
No. 3 years were average, and the fourth, you shit the bed.
I think we're going to do even better now. But
Yeah, we're not.
we have a chance
We're almost done with this, by the way. You guys mind if I roll out through the rest of this and just finish it?
to do something.
Chat room, you good? By the way, like, subscribe, share the show, etc., etc., etc. Nobody carries this stuff all the way through and covers it the way I do. I'm just saying. Everybody taps out or plays little snippets of stuff, and then you could pretend the rest of it was somehow normal. You wouldn't know about Endragy if it wasn't for me. Fucking hell.
That's monumental, and I'm in the process of doing it right now.
But how do you negotiate with a group of elites who, honestly, they were for the Great Reset, the WEF Great Reset?
I don't have to negotiate. I don't have to negotiate.
No, Besant and those guys have to, and if they don't do it, I'll just blame them.
I'm talking to people out of respect, but I don't have to. So we're this giant store that people want to come in and buy from. We're the United States. We have the richest consumer, et cetera, right?
No, they're the store, and we are the customer that they want to attract to their store in this analogy. Asshole.
But we're not going to be that way for long if we don't do something. But we're this giant
Right. We won't have the money to be the consumer, and they won't be interested in attracting us to their store. Jesus.
store, and they all want to come in and they want to take our product. But to take our product, they're going to have to pay.
It's the other way around. That's why we have a deficit. If you're talking about a deficit, that means we're taking their product that we pay. So they're going to have to give us a discount, is what you're saying, if you still want us to. Holy shit.
And we'll either make a deal with them or we'll just set
Nice.
a price, because some countries are worse than others. Some countries have ripped us off really badly, and some countries have just ripped us off a little bit. But almost all of them have ripped us off because we've had really poor leadership.
Well, I mean, obviously Biden was okay and Obama did well, but there was a 4-year period in between them where I don't know what the hell I was.
And what's going to happen is we're going to negotiate.
What's going to happen?
We are negotiating. We're negotiating with 70 different countries.
70 different countries. He's starting to get saliva at you, which means they had to take a break, and he got a bolt of
We negotiate.
adrenochrome and
We are
Adderall.
negotiating. We're negotiating with 70 different.
Maybe sip of water. Maybe have a table nearby.
countries. And we're negotiating. We're showing great respect. But in the end, we may make deals, but either that or I just set a price. I said, here's what you're going to pay for the privilege of servicing the United States of America.
Ew.
Okay? And they have an option. They can make
Go to another country and sell their goods there. Create unilateral trade deals with other countries to make up the shortfall. Form their own version of TPP, for example, which they absolutely could
maybe
do.
talk to me a little bit, or they can not shop. You know, they don't have to shop at this big store.
We're not the store. Again, we're the customer. Maybe that's what's wrong with this whole thing, is that this analogy, he's brought this up several times. In this analogy, it's the opposite. We're the customer, they're the store. The idea is that this store is charging us too much, and we will just not go to the store anymore unless you cut us a deal. Or you're charging us a Costco membership fee to get into your store, but we have a store and we don't charge you a Costco membership fee. So if you don't drop your membership fee, we're going to add one to ours. Again, who does that benefit? The store down the street that doesn't have one.
Or they can shop.
Right.
But in any event, they're going to have to pay. Look, we owe $36 trillion for a reason.
Yeah, a third of it is you.
The reason is the trade and also the endless
No, it isn't.
wars, the stupid wars that we fought.
Right, which Biden ended.
We go into the Middle East, we blow it up, we leave, we don't get anything.
We don't get anything. Yeah, you're right. We should have robbed the place. I mean, if you're going to blow it up, if you're going to blow the safe, take the cash, right? Yeah, that's America. All right.
And you're a big fan of exactly what I'm saying, meaning let's not do the
Let's not
stupid
do that.
stuff.
Doesn't work.
It's stupid.
Hold on. No. What Glenn is allegedly for, and I also call bullshit on this, is not getting in those wars in the first place. A lot of these guys suddenly became doves because they were embarrassed to have sided with Bush back in the day. But that doesn't mean they're for the idea that you'll have this war and then you'll just rob the fucking place. Hey, if you want us to come in and fuck your shit up, and if you want us to leave, you're going to have to pay us to leave by giving us your shit.
But endless wars,
Like Jesus did. Yeah.
wars that they don't even want us. We got into wars they didn't even want us.
Right. Most of the time, when you go to war in some place, they don't want you. Like, I'm sure Afghanistan and Iraq didn't want us in the country. It's pretty normal.
So all of that stuff. When I left,
By the way, what he means by that is like when we're involved in UN peacekeeping in Africa, or the major force, or we go in and help an African country. What he means is, unless there's nothing to get from that, so just let them kill each other.
4 years ago, we had no wars.
Unless you count all the times he bombed Syria. The Afghanistan war was still ongoing. Biden got us out. There was still fighting in the Donbass the entire time he was president.
We had no Israel and Hamas.
Bullshit. Hamas fired rockets into Israel every week of his presidency. Twice a week at least.
And by the way, it would have never happened because Iran was broke.
No, it wasn't. You gave them the right to sell oil under the table, and then you got caught, and so you stopped it after that fact. That's where the $6 billion in oil money that was in South Korea and the bank there that we were going to give them in exchange for our hostages at one point, and Biden tricked them. He said, give us them, we'll release the money. They gave us the hostages, and we didn't release the money. The money is still in a South Korean bank.
They were broke. I had sanctions that were so strong on Iran. They were totally broke. They had
Gibberish. Just gibberish. No, they weren't.
no money for Hamas or Hezbollah. We didn't have Russia, Ukraine. That would have never happened, by the way.
It was ongoing the entire time. Russia-Ukraine was happening in the Donbass ever since 2014. And you hired in your campaign the guy who was one of the architects of the 2014 massacre at Maidan Square.
We didn't have the Afghanistan embarrassment, one of
Well, unless you count every day that we hadn't left.
the great embarrassments in the history of our country. We didn't have any inflation.
I know.
Don't forget, I charged China hundreds of billions worth of tariffs.
And had to bail out all the farmers because of it.
They talk about inflation. We had no inflation.
Yeah, we did. And we had regular inflation, a little bit higher than normal, and then we had deflation during COVID. So it zeroed out by the time you were there because of a collapse in the economy caused by COVID.
Because that doesn't cause inflation. Stupidity causes inflation. High energy caused inflation. When they took over my energy, we were making it like nobody's ever seen.
Yeah, oil was negative $32 a barrel. Nobody was going anywhere. Once the world opened up again, thanks, Biden, then everybody wanted oil again. All the first world countries, especially ours, wanted all the oil that was available and will pay, hand over fist for it to get their economy started again.
And then the prices doubled. By the way, because of that, Putin went in. If they kept, you see what's going on with energy now, it's going down.
Yeah.
It makes it much harder for Putin to prosecute the war. So we have a lot of great things on the horizon.
He built up a war chest during Trump's presidency, just for the record, for this purpose. I mean, remember the whole thing about Putin's war chest and how they built up this, emergency fund for this? All during Trump's 4 years, that was the plan. When Trump lost, they punted the attack a year because they assumed that he would just let them get away with it the first year. And then when Biden won, they had to push it because they couldn't enter when they thought they were going to do it right after the inauguration. And they're like, we can't do it because Biden and all those guys will jump down our throats. So we got to and we're late to that window. If we just started a little bit before the inauguration, we might have enough legs to get in there. We think it's going to take us, 6 days under Trump, but it'll take us months under Biden. It took us years. So therefore, this whole shit about it never would have happened is garbage. It did happen because they were prepping for it all during his first term.
One of your spokespeople came out today and said that you're tired, getting fatigued with Zelensky. I think he treated you poorly in the Oval.
Fuck you.
Myself, he's kind of a punk. But is he the problem?
You said it.
Yeah. Is he the problem? Is Putin the problem? Or is Europe the problem?
So look, Russia's a very big military force, and Ukraine isn't. Without Ukraine, and I'm the one that supplied the javelins to them, so I did a lot.
No, Congress did it, and you tried to stop them. The first impeachment was about the fact that he was going to withhold javelins. Shut the fuck
For
up.
them because the tanks got stuck in the mud, and then they got javelins, right? And they always say Trump gave the javelins, and it was, in that case, Obama gave sheets.
That's because Yanukovych and Poroshenko versus Zelensky. Obviously, Trump trusted Zelensky with weapons the same way Obama would have as well.
He gave sheets. They sent nothing. But
different leadership. And again, Yanukovych was a Russian puppet, fled to Russia, lives in Russia.
Biden gave money like nobody's ever seen before.
Well, nobody's ever seen it before because we've never seen in our lifetime Ukraine attacked like this.
$350 billion.
Nope. And that was all spent in the United States. Like, what is true of it was spent here.
$350 billion.
Gibberish.
Gave military equipment, gave storage. We had
Is that the alarm? Interview's over.
massive storage bins full of ammunition, buildings as long as the eye could see, gave the ammunition. What he did is, look, between the...
What? Sorry, we had storage bins full of ammunition in buildings as far as the eye could see, as long as the eye could see. I guess until it goes blind, whatever. And he gave all of it to Ukraine from American companies and then paid those companies to make fresh shit.
Border and to this and to that. But this war is so bad. And remember this, I say it here, I say it every time. This is Biden's war, not my war. I'm just...
Look, take responsibility. Hey, asshole. This used to mean something.
Trying to end it. And I'm actually ending it, yes, for money, but I'm not ending it for that, number one. I'm ending it because they're losing 5,000 people a week. Young soldiers are being killed, Russian and Ukrainian both. But in the end, Russia has a lot of soldiers, and they have a very big military. And things were said like...
He's almost there. He's almost to like, if we don't support Ukraine, they would just be wiped out by these people. So Ukraine has to listen to us, and Russia doesn't, because Russia deserves to win because they've got a bigger country.
Like when Zelensky was in the Oval Office, I was talking about getting it done, and he starts screaming, but we need security, meaning security after the fact. I said, security? I don't even know if we can get this deal done. He's asking for more, just more and more.
Whoa, you don't even know if you can get this deal done? That's, what the fuck? So that's what the upset point was? Listen to that shit.
Screaming, but we need security, meaning security after the fact. I said, security? I don't even know if we can get this deal done.
Holy shit. Again, everybody was thinking like, obviously this is because he's asking for too much and yada yada. No, it's just like, I don't think I can deal of the century, Mr. Dealmaker. I don't even know if this will happen. Shit. What after? I can't even deal with during.
He's asking for more, just more and more.
No, he isn't. They need, as part of this deal, a security guarantee that it won't start up again. You would want that. What he means is allowing French and British troops or UN peacekeepers or US troops or security forces protecting US businesses if they're in there getting this mineral deal and all that kind of shit. You're going to need that. Otherwise, the Russians will just fucking dress up as locals, shoot a bunch of them and undermine the deal, and then start killing again.
And more. And he doesn't have the cards, as you know, because you see what's happening.
What the fuck are you looking at, Beck? Jesus Christ, man. I got to tell you, like, nothing disgusts me more than these assholes like Beck. Like, go to Bucha, you motherfucker. Go stand there where the mass graves were, where the rape victims were found, where the children were found, where the booby-trapped bodies of children were found. Go stand there and make that fucking smug face in Bucha, you piece of shit.
Over there. He doesn't have the cards,
What noise was that?
as you know, because you see what's happening over there. He doesn't have the
Ugh. That's probably the noise he would make in Bucha.
cards. So hopefully he's going to get it done, because I don't believe that
He's gonna get it done. Wasn't it supposed to take wasn't it you and one phone call?
Vladimir Putin would be doing this for anybody else but me.
Doing what? Bombing the fuck out of it all during the ceasefire? Lying to your fucking face? Laughing at you behind your back?
A lot of people have said it too. I think
No, they haven't.
he had the idea of going all the way through. I think he's willing to make a deal. And I would say thus far, he's been easier to deal with than Zelensky.
Bullshit.
Thus far.
Mr. President, I have to tell you, I didn't understand why gold was going up so fast.
But now I realize it's a fear investment point. People buy it when they are worried that the economy is going to collapse and the world will end. And as everybody says, if the dollar collapses and the world falls apart, gold is real money, as Glenn sells on his fucking show, which is no doubt where they'll dovetail into. But tell us why gold, a pretty rock, is more important than the value of labor, invention, and creativity of every American.
Until I walked into the Oval.
Oh, well, we're making it nice. We're making it the way it should be.
You have transformed
Gaudy.
the Oval.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I think I've transferred it and transformed it, maybe more importantly in what we're doing with our ideas, our policies, because we had some really bad things happening to our country. And we now have a strong border. We're now respected.
Respected. Yeah. I'm sure Putin says he'll respect you in the morning.
When you take a look at the money that's pouring in through the tariffs, you're going to see, I mean...
$15 billion in a month. 15. Meanwhile, they destroyed $2 trillion in the stock market, but they made $15 billion in tariffs in the same amount of time. This is the kind of thinking that capsizes a casino.
I want to. That would be an ambition. I'm going to make you a fan of it, but
You got
not that I want to.
I would love to be a fan of it.
Not that I want to do, tariffs or anything else, but
What?
I want to save our country.
Yes.
We were losing $5 billion a day. You can't do that. It's not sustainable.
We weren't losing it. We were buying $5 billion worth of shit more from the world than they were buying from us, because we're the biggest economy in the world.
So we'll be doing another interview in a year or 2 years from now, and you're going to see.
And he'll be in a hospital bed, communicating through blinks.
You were right on that. I've been right about a lot of things.
I have been corrected by your actions before.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
But
So, thank you.
It's a great honor to be with you.
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Glenn gives his post-interview reaction. No shit.
As you watched the interview, I'm sure you saw the stack of questions, and that was the edited stack of questions that I had for him, and I kept skipping them because his
people were making you wrap it up, and you didn't want to ask him any detailed questions.
people were off to the side showing me he's got a meeting he's got to get to, and so I didn't ask him a lot of the stuff I really wanted to.
Oh, I see. So you were poorly prepared and a shitty interviewer, and you wasted everybody's time, and he spent a lot of time spackling the answers with bullshit, essentially, just filling in the gaps with campaign speak like any other politician does.
Ask him, but we ran out of time, but he did invite us back, and
in a year or two.
We will be back to talk about him. I hope that was satisfying to you.
No, I felt it was embarrassing for both of you. I thought you basically equally jockeyed back and forth for the dumbest person in the interview, and in the end, congratulations, Glenn. It was a draw.
I hope I answered or asked some of the questions, and he answered some of the questions to your satisfaction.
No, not at all. I can't, and I can tell by the way you're looking down and how kind of flaccid you are in your post-interview wrap-up speech here. I can tell you don't think it went well either.
I'm not a journalist.
Or an interviewer. I'm just a shitty cosplay actor from Texas who occasionally dresses up like a cowboy or any number of failed, I guess, X'd out Village People characters.
I am
Rejected.
just somebody who is an honest American that is just trying to figure things out and trying to
Shut the fuck up.
raise my family, just like you are. The one thing about this president
You're right, I am trying to raise your family.
is he is strangely a guy that is, gilding the Oval Office, but he is
Right, yes, it's very, it's a very F. Scott Fitzgerald situation.
still strangely a regular guy.
Yes, did he fart? That's why you mean that. He farted in the middle of the interview, didn't he? Is that regular guy who just one cheek sneaked you and you had to edit it out? He was, you took a break in the middle of it so he could eat a fucking fish delight from McDonald's?
Just in unbelievably different circumstances. I asked him, do you ever feel, I know you're Donald Trump, but do you ever feel...
Oh, did he just call him Donald Chump?
I asked him, do you ever feel, I know you're Donald Trump, but do you ever...
Take two. Endragy, I know you're Donald Chump. I mean, I guess you can't have an interview like this and push down everything so much without having a giant fucking Freudian slip.
circumstances. I asked him, do you ever feel, I know you're Donald Trump, but do you ever feel...
Oof. Ouch. I know you're Donald Trump. Okay.
And he said, immediately, cut me off there. Yes,
He said, I'm not Donald Trump. It's Trump. You don't like Trump? Trump? You fucked me up again. Now I'd like to look at the oranges.
every day I can't believe I'm walking around in this White House.
Believe me, that's how we feel.
He's an average guy, and if you're watching...
Well, no. Don't shame the average person that way. He's a below average guy. He weights the average in the wrong direction.
On Blaze TV, we're going to go right into this. A question I asked him about Tesla being an average guy from an unusual family. That continues next. Thanks. Good night.
What? Does anybody know what that was? Hold on. Ask who.
We're going to go right into this. He's an average guy, and every day I can't believe I'm walking around in this White House. He's an average guy, and if you're watching on Blaze TV, we're going to go right into this. A question I asked him about Tesla being an average guy from an unusual family. That continues next. Thanks. Good night.
Huh?
How crazy is it that you are working with Elon Musk today?
Sorry, you cut shit out and tacked this on to the end?
Tesla.
Yeah.
And when Tesla died, it was your genius uncle that was sent to try to figure out what papers should be kept. And how crazy is that? We're waiting for the president to come in. I just want to show you. This is the Roosevelt room. This is such a cool room. The Oval Office.
Jesus Christ. Ugh. Look at these two aging televangelists. This is like the guy who currently runs the megachurch and the guy who's going to follow after him to run it after he slips into his nether years. Ugh. God, we got through it. Congratulations, everybody. Jesus Christ. There was a behind the scenes that he talks about. Maybe we'll deal with it tomorrow. That had to do with like pictures he took. Hold on. Yeah, like this kind of shit. Like him just being an asshole standing in front of pictures with him or whatever. like, and they green screened in this shit, which I don't know what the fuck that is about. Also, he's back to like frontier medicine. Like, put that in your book, Glenn Beck. And I think that's the only. I think they just talk about it, and then I think he has. Hold on, is this one more question he has at the end?
How do you negotiate with people who don't mind blowing the whole thing up? Listen to this.
I don't have to negotiate.
Okay, yeah, it says the same thing out here. I don't have to negotiate, which is just stupid. Of course you do. I don't have to negotiate. I'll just take my ball and go home because I don't care if it destroys American industry or if they don't have time to, to maneuver and fix themselves. Fuck them. Not my problem. Anyways, I'm going to run. Love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the afternoon show. Check out the Terra show tomorrow in the morning, 11 a.m. On the Political Voices Network, on Substack, and where on their YouTube channel. And then I will see you guys in the afternoon at 3 o'clock at our regular time. And now I will spend the rest of the evening making an ad for Entergy. Hold on. Do I have any, like, let's see. Any Entergy music that I would have? Let's see. That doesn't quite work. Hold on. How about Entergy? Huh? Entergy by Glenn Beck. Shh. Don't let the WEF smell you. Something like that. We'll work on it. Actually, because of his bullshit, like, when I get all partied up and stanky, I do, nope. Where is it? Here we go. Entergy, a new smell from Glenn Beck. It smells vaguely like Stu's seat. We get it right from behind Trump's ears, which I got a good look at, and they both look completely normal. I don't know where the nick went. Entergy. All right. So, I'll let you guys go. Otherwise, I will be here all night losing my goddamn mind. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I'll see you tomorrow.